Yeah, it's another another night where it's not 48 minutes of bad basketball. We have stretches that are both physically bad play and also just sort of mentally disengaged, and it compounds quickly. I thought the beginning of the game was disappointing from an energy standpoint. I don't know exactly what the reason would be, but we just felt like we were coasting to start the game. We didn't come out with enough energy, tenacity, the simple things. Like we get a rebound on a stop and it takes us forever to get down the floor. Those things have to be changed. Obviously, in the second half, it seemed like everybody in the gym knew that Dalton Knecht was going to shoot the next shot, with the exception of a few people. The problem was that those few people were on our team. The awareness to what's going on in the game, the ability to recognize and solve problems as a team is something that we're going to have to continue to work on, and that's going to be a big part of our growth. I think systems, both offensively and defensively, usually have rules because it helps keep the order of things on both sides of the ball, but there has to be license to play and to recognize what's going on around us, and in certain moments say, I don't care about the rules, this guy's made 4 in a row. Those moments are going to come with time and repetition and sort of building that foundation in the group and in the individuals that they do know what's going on and they don't have to ask for permission to be sort of like free thinkers in those moments, because there's not enough timeouts in the game to constantly have these conversations. But I am proud of the way the team fought in the second half. I thought that there were a bunch of individuals who played hard and played well. I thought for the most part we tried to move the ball, and the Lakers played a good game. They shot the ball well from 3, especially Dalton Knecht. And LeBron James and Anthony Davis are still 2 of the best players in this league. And their physicality in certain moments, their size overwhelmed us a little bit. But, right now it's really about continuing to keep our focus on what's important and continue to find the good parts of the game to build on and continue to find the teaching moments in the game to correct and try to minimize. I don't think that we're ever going to take those moments fully away. No team does, but as we continue to grow as a group, there's kind of 2 paths that have to grow. You have to grow individually in your own understanding and your own abilities and your own, sort of competence. But then we have to keep growing as a group and recognize that we do need each other and that we do need to lean on each other in different moments and that we need to communicate better and that we need to continue to hunt what I believe every great team has, and that's the ability to think as a group. I've talked to you guys about that a lot. It's going to be something that I continue to talk about because that's what we're hunting. The best teams have the ability to think as a group, and that comes with with time, and it comes with some struggle at times. So none of this is necessarily unexpected, but as we continue to hunt that, we have to minimize some of these sort of nuclear moments that happen in the games. Because I still believe, like when I watch our team play, that there's more good basketball being played than bad. The bad moments right now are just really loud.
Last season, you talked about that quite a few times too, like the idea that needing to recognize the moment and maybe go against scheme if it means just stopping someone, right? DiVincenzo, Keegan Murray, like those stick out as times last season the same thing happened. And so there are some times when I'm sure that it's like a guy gets going and hits 4 in a row, like you can't really stop him at that point, like even if you have a hand in his face. But what is maybe the carryover in those moments last season and tonight? Like, is it because there's youth and it just takes time, or yeah?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. You know, we had a bunch of young players on the court when it was happening, and you know, that's where you have these moments of, I never want to be the coach and we never want to be the program that like yanks people after one mistake. That's not, I just don't think that that's an effective way to learn. And so there's moments where you're sort of rolling the dice of like, okay, like I want these guys to feel this moment and to have some recognition, and we're communicating in the game, and can we fix it on the fly? The rolling the dice part is that we might not fix it on the fly tonight. But that's where we're at. Like, that's what we're doing. And so I can take some of the blame for what happened, for sure. Like, this is never me. I never come in here and like point the finger at the players. Like, we do this as a group, but those are the moments when you're trying to develop people and teach them that some of the best experiences lived, like you have to go through it some, and you're hoping like, okay, this next possession, we're going to get this right. And then when it doesn't happen, you being me, like you feel like an idiot because you're like, oh my God, like it really happened again. And so if it's anyone's fault, it could be mine. It's a collective thing. It's them and me. Like, it's not me saying like, how could you do that? Because they haven't been in those moments before, and the level of skill in the NBA is so unforgiving at times that any mistake can look bad. And then when a guy really gets going, like a couple that he hit were contested for sure, but the few before that really got him going, and so then you're kind of at the mercy of a really good shooter. So those moments are tough, and they're tough to like process afterwards, because like, yeah, the competitor in you is furious, but you know, coaching's not necessarily always about being right. You got to be right at the right time.
Apologies to the mic guy.
Nice.
So you let them live through those moments, and like that's what you're trying to do, right? If they fail, for lack of a better word, then does it become like, oh, this is good for tape, because not only are they going to be mad at themselves, but then we can be able to show them.
In theory, I mean, I promise you, I'm not twisted enough that I'm standing there on the sideline going like, I hope this goes awful so we have some good tape. Like, that seems really dark. Yeah, I would never do that. That will be an intrusive thought for later, though, I'm sure now. Yeah, no, I'm not. You're not thinking like, oh, we're gonna make this a big learning moment. It's, yeah, like, well, now, yeah, we have to go back and look at it. But in the moment, like, you really are hoping and wanting for there to be some learning on the fly. And sometimes it does happen. Like, there are plenty of times that it would be harder to point out where, like, a guy hits one and the next time the guys really sniff it out and do a great job. But those things kind of, like, go past everybody because you don't notice it because he didn't hit 4 in a row. But for us as a staff, we're going, like, that was growth. He recognized it, learned, and made an adjustment. And tonight wasn't one of those moments, and so everybody knows about it, and it's loud, and it's definitely something that we'll address and review. But, you know, a big part of this is not becoming, like, overly emotional about all of those things, because there's just a lot that we have to teach, and there's a lot of people that we're trying to teach. It's not like we're focusing this on one person. It's a bunch of individuals and then the collective team piece that we're trying to grow.
I am curious. It's like, sorry, Mike. Like, so you have a lot of rookies in that situation, right? Too. Is it a case that they know that they can break the system? Do they need to ask for permission, or are they too young at this point?
That kind of depends on the person. Okay. I think. I don't know. Some guys are just a little bit more rule follower brain types. And they're trying to do literally what you said. Yeah. Some guys, their brains let them color outside the lines a little bit more on their own, and that's, you know, that's the fun part of coaching, is that none of these guys are all the same. Everybody's unique, and so how you approach them, how you communicate with them, how you teach them, there's a lot of different ways to go about it.
And the good teams you've coached, say San Antonio, let's say Dalton Knecht, or I guess it'd be JJ Redick then, or whoever, right? Like, hits 2 threes in a row. Mm-hmm. What are the mechanics of actually, like, that message getting out of, hey, we need to focus on this? Is it like Tim Duncan or Manu saying, hey, FYI, this just happened, we need to spread out and push up? Or is it Pop saying something on the sidelines? Like, how does that actually physically happen, that kind of communicating as a group you talked about?
Yeah, I mean, in those moments, it's everybody. You know, that's when you really are thinking as a group. It's the guy makes his second one, and everybody kind of looks at each other, the coach included, and it's like, he's not getting the third one. That being said, even those teams weren't perfect. Like, I remember plenty of games where guys had massive games against us, got hot, and then they become really hard to contain, and that's kind of the fragile piece of this at this level, is that the skill level is so high that somebody sees a couple go in, and all of a sudden now they're making crazy ones, and it's hard in that moment. Like, I can't freak out about the fifth one that he hit, because, like, you actually did a really good job and you contested it and he just made a crazy shot, so I can't get mad about that one. Really, I'm upset about the 2 or 3 rhythm ones that he got before. So those moments are tricky, but it's everybody. It's not one person saying, hey, we need to make an adjustment. It's the players recognizing it, the coach recognizing it, and everybody kind of communicating that at once.
You kind of mentioned in the first half the urgency and stuff. You guys didn't come out how you wanted to. Do you think that's what affected the offense, kind of getting out of rhythm, it looked like, or just never really getting into a good rhythm? Yeah,
we didn't generate force early in the clock at all in the first half. And that's where, when you play a team like the Lakers with their size and their physicality, like, if you're not really moving them quickly and generating force early in the clock, and they get to sort of sit back and just sit in the gaps, they're so big that it's hard to create an advantage. And then you're doing it with half the clock. I felt like in the second half we were way more intentional. The pace was way better, even on simple things like the quickness of ball reversals, how fast we're sprinting to screen. And all those things add up, because 24 seconds can go really quickly when you're playing against a good team, a good defensive team. So I just don't think we valued the first part of the clock well enough in the first half. And that's not always the opportunities to score. It's like, can we generate that first advantage and get them on their heels, reacting to us a little bit in the first part of the clock, and it gives you more time to then work that advantage and find a good shot.
Thank you.
Thanks.